December 14th, 2023 legislative meeting. In case I get remiss towards the end, hope you all have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Having said that, Mr. Mitchell with our first public hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. By way of illustration, today we have 4 public hearings. The hearing on the tentative County of Oswego budget for the year 2024 is at 7 o'clock p.m. The other 3 hearings scheduled for 2 today pertain to local laws. Start with local law number 6. Please take notice that the County Legislature of the County of Oswego will meet at the Legislative Chambers, 46 East Bridge Street, Oswego, New York, 13126 at 2 o'clock on the 14th day of December 2023 for the purpose of holding a public hearing on local law number 6 of the year 2023, entitled a local law amending local law number 3 of 2021, providing for the salaries of certain elected county officers of the County of Oswego. By order of the County Legislature, November 9, 2023, Betsy Sherman Saunders, Clerk. Any persons wishing to be heard on local law number 6 of 2023 pertaining to salaries of certain elected county officers, please step forward and state your name.
Thank you. At this point, would Eric Cronk come forward? Thank you. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Eric Cronk. I am a Principal Social Welfare Examiner at the Department of Social Services. I answer directly to Mrs. Stevens, Director of Assistance Programs, who, should this budget get approved effective 1/1, will take on the Employment and Training Services team for mandatory TA and SNAP populations. I supervise 3 senior social welfare examiners who each supervise between 4 and 9 other staff who make eligibility determinations on the applications for assistance programs that we as a county are required by state and federal law to provide to the citizens of our county. I'm here to voice my concerns on what value the legislature feels we at DSS provide to the county compared to what value they provide to the county. The legislature has deemed it necessary to vote themselves another pay raise. I'm curious as to when in this county's history being elected to a government position to serve and govern the county and its citizens changed from being one's civic duty to a paid part-time job that also provides benefits. I believe that I can safely say that each and every elected individual in this room is either retired or has a full-time job. I can't imagine that this position is the sole source of income for any of you or your families, but please feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I'm also curious as to how a majority of supposed fiscal conservative Republicans you explain to your constituents that you want them to elect you to serve as your elected representatives. You use your time and resources and those of your friends, families, and constituents to get elected to a position that you want to hold. And then you tell those same people it's not enough, that you deserve more of their tax dollars to sit in this room and make decisions that affect everyone in the county. I encourage everyone to ask the candidates running in the next election what value they bring to the table, what dollar value that is worth. And by the way, to the legislator that represents the part of the county I live in, I sincerely look forward to receiving the handwritten thank you letter for your pay raise last year and this year. I know that the part that comes directly from my tax dollar is minimal, but I think it's the least you could do. I won't be holding my breath. For the proposed budget effective January 1st, 2024, County Legislature is going to receive $15,625 plus benefits. And the chairman of the legislature will receive $34,372 plus benefits for what is, again, a part-time job. Chairman, I don't know if you realize, but there's at least 4 titles in the county of people that work full-time jobs that are going to be making less than you for this part-time job. They also have to pay part of their, health benefits. For the proposed budget effective January 1st, a social welfare examiner on average will earn around $40,000 plus benefits. A senior social welfare examiner will earn around $43,000 plus benefits, and I will earn a base pay of approximately $49,500 plus benefits. Do any of the legislators in this room know the responsibilities, job duties, training needed for us to do our jobs? Do you know the risks and stresses we face on a daily basis? You recently hired someone to do a comparative wage study of county employees, and I don't recall anyone coming out to DSS to interview us or see what we do. You received the results of the study some time ago, but for some reason it hasn't been made public. I guess it has to be reviewed. I'm predicting that it won't be released to the public until after you vote yourselves your pay raises and get the budget passed. I mean, did you simply tell the people that created the report what you wanted it to say? Really? I want to know why a county legislator feels they need to be paid more than a third of what a social welfare examiner is paid. A social welfare examiner is doing a 35-hour-a-week job. You're doing a 40-hour-a-month job. I also like to know why the chairman of the board is paid almost 70% of what I'm going to be paid. And once again, it's a part-time job for you, a full-time job for me. Plus, they take money out of my check for health insurance too. I truly believe you have no idea what is required of us to do our jobs. And again, these are part-time jobs for you that, in my opinion, should be a person's civic duty, not a job or a career. We are facing a severe staffing shortage due to the low pay and stressful work environment. We are constantly struggling to keep individuals in the social welfare examiner position due to the minimum amount of pay they receive for 35 hours a week. In addition, social welfare examiners and employment specialists work with the same mandatory population for a common goal of moving households to independence to reduce the public tax burden, yet there continues to be a disparity in their pays based on the pending budget. To the citizens of the county, I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I know for many of you it will not be merry or happy. We are trying our absolute best to help everyone we can. I wish we could do more. I know many of you value the work we do and the help we provide to those in need, but it's obvious that the legislators in this room do not value or appreciate us. If they did, they would, as a simple gesture, vote no on the pay raises unanimously. And if the sole reason for the pay raise is because of the cost of gas, well, that cost has dropped quite a bit in the last couple of weeks. Do you really need that? I don't think you deserve it. Thank you for letting me go over my time.
Is there any other persons that wish to come forward to speak on this public hearing?
There being no other persons wishing to speak on proposed local law number 6 of 2023, Mr. Chairman, I request to declare the public hearing closed at 2:12.
Thank you.
Notice of public hearing. Please take notice the county legislature of the county of Oswego will meet at the legislative chambers, 46 East Bridge Street, Oswego, New York, at 2:00 p.m. on the 14th day of December. The purpose of holding a public hearing on local law number 7, the year 2023, entitled "A Local Law Overriding the Tax Levy Limit for Fiscal Year 2024." By order of the county legislature, Betsy Sherman Saunders, clerk, November 9, 2023. Any persons wishing to be heard regarding proposed local law number 7, 2023, concerning overriding the tax levy limit, please step forward and state your name.
Legislator House.
Mr. Chairman, there are none.
Thank you.
There being no persons wishing to be heard regarding proposed local law number 7, Mr. Chairman, I request you to declare the public hearing closed at 2:13.
Thank you.
Notice of public hearing. Please take notice the county legislature shall hold a public hearing on proposed county of Oswego local law number 8 of 2023, entitled "The Local Law Establishing the Department of Workforce Development," on the 14th day of December 2023 at 2:00 p.m. at the Legislative Office Building, 46 East Bridge Street, Oswego, New York. By order of the county legislature, dated November 9, 2023, Betsy Sherman Saunders, clerk. Any persons wishing to be heard regarding proposed local law number 8 of 2023 concerning the establishment of the Department of Workforce Development, please step forward and state your name.
Legislator House.
Mr. Chairman, there are none.
Thank you.
There being no persons wishing to be heard regarding proposed local law number 8 of 2023, Mr. Chairman, I request you to declare the public hearing closed at 2:14.
Thank you. Moving now to, will the clerk please call the roll?
Michael Yerdon.
Present.
Herbert Yerdon.
Present.
Edward Gilson.
Here.
David Holtz.
Here.
Roy Rehill.
Here.
John Martino.
Here.
Frank Lombardo.
Here.
Paul House.
Here.
James Weatherup.
Here.
Mary Ellen Chesbrough.
Here.
Linda Lockwood. Here. Richard Klein.
Present.
Patrick Twist.
Here.
Stephen Walpole's been marked excused. Kevin Hill.
Here.
James Scanlon.
Here.
District 17 is vacant. Robert Wilmot has been marked excused. Marie Schad.
Here.
Paul Conley.
Here.
Noel Samuelson.
Here.
James Carasek.
Here.
Michael Soloway.
Here.
Mark Greco.
Here.
Frank Castelia.
Wouldn't miss it.
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 present, 2 excused, and 1 vacancy.
Thank you. Would the clerk please lead us in the invocation?
Let us be thankful for this opportunity to serve our community. Help us to be kind to one another as we confront difficult decisions. Make strong in our hearts that which unites us. Build bridges across all that divide us. Grant us clarity, courage, and resolve. And above all, we ask for guidance in all that we do. Keep in our hearts those who are with us and those who have lost this year. Amen.
Thank you. Now the pledge. Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We could remain standing, give a moment of silence. I'd like to take a moment to thank Legislator O'Donnell for the time that she served here. We're deeply saddened by the loss, and our hearts go out to her family during this difficult time. She was a wonderful colleague, she was a friend, and a community member. She played a very important role in this legislature. She graciously served as a majority whip, the Finance and Personnel Committee chair, and a member of the Public Safety Committee. She was dedicated, devoted, and an extremely active member of the legislature. Her dedication to the governing body and to District 17 and the entire Oswego County community is immeasurable. She will be missed. Please keep her family in your thoughts during this difficult time. Thank you. Trust we had a chance to look at the minutes from the regular meeting on November 9th, 2023. So moved. Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Any introduction visitors? No call. See any? Any speakers on public resolutions of the day? Legislator House. Thank you, sir. Would Donna Scanlon come forward? Thank you. Donna is talking about FP6. You have the floor. You have 5 minutes.
You're really short. I only need 5 minutes. FP6 is the management compensation contract or whatever. I don't really have a great deal to say about the management contract that was presented because I really don't know what everyone in the management unit does. So I'm not going to get into any content. I will say I don't fully understand how or what titles end up in that management group or how they get there. I'm in ACPA, which is Oswego County Public Association, and we have directors and coordinators and administrators and specialists just like the management contract. The only one that's different is management has deputy directors. Now, I'm aware that the compensation study is out there and it's being reviewed by county's leadership. And hopefully the document will be available to other unions and associations pretty soon because our group would like to take a look at it. And hopefully county employees will have with similar job titles as those in the management union will be adequately compensated for service and expertise in the near future. And employees who are working outside of their job titles within other unions will also be, compensated accordingly under the compensation study, and to really compare everything, and I guess that's what that study does. So I'm just kind of asking everyone to keep an open mind and really review and understand what your county employees do. You know, we're trying to understand what you guys do. I hear that you do more than I think. And I'm encouraged to see that some legislators are showing up at some board meetings that I go to, and I find that very helpful. And I encourage you to get involved in different communities. There's been a lot of talk about homelessness and the issues with that. And our county has a group that's called Coach, and we're doing a point-in-time study. And it's actually a regional approach to homelessness, and I'm not sure if everyone understands that. In 2015, the continuum of care, Oswego County joined in with Onondaga and Oneida, no, not Oneida, Auburn, to create a continuum of care and share resources for homelessness. And there's a whole, it's pretty intricate, but not a lot of people know about it. So we're taking regional approaches to some things, and I think if we could have more support from both you guys, and anyone, actually it'd be more helpful than, you know, just kind of being negative about the problem. It's a big problem, it's a negative problem, but it's a complex problem, and we need support more than anything. And I got way off track of that. But anyhow, I was just talking about the management study, and just, we're looking for some equity and some, you know, some respect and acknowledgement. So thanks for your time, and happy holidays.
Thank you. Are there any other speakers on public resolutions of the day? Thank you. Moving now to reports of county officials. Reports of standing committees. A report of special committees. Thank you. I would note that GC2, FP2, and FP5, which is in this agenda, are actually for the 7 o'clock tonight meeting. So moving first to resolution GC1 by legislator Cole. GC1.
Chairman, I have a resolution and urge to adopt.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution supporting Senate Bill S-7645 that repeals certain provisions of the executive law establishing a fee for background checks on certain firearm and ammunition purchases.
Yes, this bill is sponsored by our Senator Mark Walczak, and with the results, if this goes through, every citizen for ammunition purchases would have to pay an extra $2.50 and $9 for every firearm purchase, and have to go through extra background checks.
Yes. Thank you. This resolution supports Senate Bill S-7645, repealing the Concealed Carry Improvement Act to establish a fee for background checks on certain firearm and ammunition purchases. The CCIA Act will increase ammunition purchases by $2.50 per background check and $9 per firearm purchase. This act infringes upon our constitutional right to keep and bear arms, guaranteed by the Second Amendment. I urge all my colleagues to adopt this resolution and support Senate Bill S-7645. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution GC2 is for the 7 p.m. Resolution GC3 by legislator Holtz.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution, urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution fixing time and place for the 2024 organizational meeting.
Organization meeting will be on Thursday, the 4th of January at 2 p.m. in these chambers.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Castillo.
Mr. Chairman, fellow legislators, as always, time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon is not a lot for the general public to be able to be here. Some people would have to lose time from their job to be able to be here to witness this reorganization. Therefore, I'm asking to amend this to have the time be at 7 p.m. on January 4th, 2024.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second by legislator Schott. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Back then to the original resolution. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed?
Ms. Frank, Legislator Castillo, did you oppose that? Or you?
We're giving you 2 bites of the apple here, Frank.
And which one? What are you talking about now?
You oppose the original resolution?
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't raise your hand.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I was fell asleep again, Jim, I'm sorry.
No problem.
Mr. Chairman, that's 21 in favor, 1 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Take a nap if you need to, Frank.
Okay. Won't be for a while before you need me again, right, Jim?
Resolution GC4 by legislator Holt.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution, urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing the adoption of an amended intermunicipal agreement as well as applications for funding to support the development of and improvements to the wastewater infrastructure within the Village of Phoenix and the Town of Oswego.
Yes, this is where this intermunicipal agreement was started in May 18th of 2021, and this is assisted Village of Phoenix, New York, Town of Oswego.
Thank you. Yes, this propels Oswego County towards the future. It's important to grow and continue to make improvements in our community. We're working with the local municipalities to improve their infrastructure for future advancements. This resolution will expand the current wastewater treatment plant in the Village of Phoenix and the Town of Schuylkill. And I would urge my colleagues to adopt this resolution. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution GC5 by legislator Holt.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution, urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution adopting County of Oswego Local Law Number 8 of the year 2023 entitled A Local Law Establishing the Department of Workforce Development.
All right, yes, this is where the local law establishing workforce development, and who's in charge of that will become our workforce.
Thank you.
DSS.
Any discussion? Legislator Schott.
Will this require another hire or someone within a department?
Within-
The current division head is my recommendation to head the department. It would be appointed at your organization meeting.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution GC6 by legislator Holt.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution, urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution establishing the 2023 county equalization rates for towns and cities within Oswego County.
Yes, this is where the equalization rates for all our towns and cities are in here. Some are quite low, and we're going to have to be taken care of.
All right. Understood. Any discussion? Legislator Castillo.
What would, everybody being up to 100%, what would that do for us, Bill? How would that help us out? I mean, so the general public knows what that really means. I mean, we got people at 55%, and we got one at 100%, and Fulton comes in second at 92%. So what would being 100% do for us?
100%, that really isn't the issue. The issue is how much the equalization rate changes from year to year. Generally, if a municipality's equalization rate drops, their tax rate will increase regardless of what the tax levy is. Or if their equalization rate rises, their tax rates will go down. That's why we encourage municipalities to keep their assessments current, so that that roller coaster ride isn't there. So if going to 100%, since a lot of these are below 100, if their equalization rates were higher, their tax rates would be lower.
Thank you.
And also, rates being out of skew above or below 100% can also result in importing or exporting taxes across municipal boundary lines for school districts, county tax, things like that.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving now to Public Safety Resolution PS1 by Legislator Greco.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution and recommend its approval.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, Sheriff's Office transfer from Insurance Recovery, Treasurer's Office to automotive supplies and repair road division.
Yeah, it's just that, another accident, $820 in insurance recovery that I'd like to do.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, it's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution PS2 by Legislator Greco.
I offer this resolution and recommend its approval.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification for Sheriff's Office to transfer for road patrol salaries to drug task force.
Yeah, this is in the amount of $50,000 from wages and $3,000 for Social Security to go from road patrol to the drug task force.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution PS3 by Legislator Greco.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution and recommend its approval.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution accepting grant award from the New York State Department of Criminal Justice Services Criminal Justice Discovery Grant.
Yeah, this grant is in the amount of $374,282 to do just that, assist with the discovery grants. There's a lot more work that needs to be done in southern states. They require this extra work, so they're trying to fund something.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution PS4 by Legislator Greco.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution and recommend its approval.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing the Oswego County Emergency Management Office to accept funding from the Walmart Community Grant Program.
Yeah, this is in the amount of $900, and they'd like to put it closer to our program. We appreciate Walmart's commitment to this. They've done it in the past.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, it's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution PS5 by Legislator Greco.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution and recommend its approval.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, Oswego County Emergency Management Office, transfer from Insurance Recovery Fund to drone other equipment.
This was a damaged drone, and the amount, the recovery is $11,400. I'd like to put it right back into the drone program.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Moving to Human Services Committee, Resolution HS1 by Legislator Rehill.
Mr. Chairman, I offer the following resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, Department of Social Services legal fees for remaining calendar year 2023.
This is a request to transfer $43,000 from legal fees, two legal fees from salaries and wages to cover legal fees for the remainder of the year. This is for fee-for-service attorneys.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Castillo.
I'm just going to ask this in public so people know, why are we able to transfer money out of salaries and wages, sir?
Because there are vacancies there and there is money remaining there because for at least most of the year, there's at least one vacant attorney position for the entire year. So that left money there that we use to hire other attorneys.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Legislator Rehill.
Just to note that I did notice that I did not end up signing the mod, so I signed the mod and I can give it to you now. Other than that, it should be fine, right, Phil? Yep.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution HS2 by Legislator Rehill.
Mr. Chairman, I offer the following resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, Department of Social Services, Adult and Children's Services, additional hours.
This budget modification would move $26,000 also from salaries and wages for those lines to additional hours line. Services staff have been working additional hours to meet the demand of higher caseloads due to vacancies.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution HS3 by Legislator Rehill.
Mr. Chairman, I offer the following resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, Department of Social Services, other supplies and expense.
This is to move $67,000 from salaries and wages to supplies and expenses. This is an administration supply budget that's used to purchase paper, staples, office supplies, and also SUNY Oswego training and educational services, so budget neutral.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Castillo.
I just want to make sure everybody notes that all this money is coming out of salaries and wages because we don't have employees who rank and file in these positions to be able to properly service the public. Thank you very much, Mr. Regan.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, it's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 3 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution HS4 by Legislator Rehill.
Mr. Chairman, I offer the following resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution awarding special services contract RFP 23-OFA-001, registered dietitian services.
We're mandated to have registered dietitian services for the different food services that we supply. This is a maximum annual $24,580.80 contract, and we awarded the contract to Beth McCarthy.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Castillo.
How much of this is reimbursed, sir, if any?
75%.
Thank you. Sir?
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. We heard it was 75% reimbursable.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution HS5 by Legislator Rehill.
Mr. Chairman, I offer the following resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, additional community services for the elderly, and expanded in-home services for the elderly program, grant funding, Office of the Aging.
So this is to allocate an additional $58,140 of expanded in-home services for the elderly program. And that is also grant funding for the community service for the elderly in the amount of $33,818. This is under the Office for the Aging.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, it's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Moving now to Economic Development Planning Committee, Legislator Chesbro with EP1.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution and I urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing the transfer of accelerated transit capital funds from shop equipment line to the diagnostic equipment line.
Yes, we own 8 buses, and 7 of those 8 buses cannot be serviced by our present diagnostic equipment. Therefore, we need to get one new, and these are DOT funds, and we're able to transfer the money from shop equipment to diagnostic equipment. The county itself is budget neutral, and this way we'll be able to diagnose it. It's an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution EP2 by Legislator Chesbro.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification for the Department of Community Development, Tourism and Planning, snowmobile trail grants.
Yes, this is funds that we disperse from the state to all of our snowmobile clubs. These funds are acquired through registration for anyone who has a snowmobile. It goes to the state, and it's a different amount if they are a member of a club or not a member of a club, but those funds come to us. And our particular county is like $263,000 that have gone to the state, and now we will disperse it with the clubs. It's an annual thing that we do for the clubs, and we've met with them recently, and they're very pleased with how we're handling it.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 21 in favor, 1 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving to the Health Committee, Resolution HE1 by Legislator Carrasco.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, fellow legislators, I present the following resolution for your consideration.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, Health Department, to increase funds in preschool, other supplies and expense.
So this came about as a result of, in that program, we reimbursed schools. And there was in 2016, all but one school district started billing us on a consistent basis. And then that district has begun billing us in 2023. And as a result, we're short funded to pay the bill. And it's $90,500.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, it's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Moving to Resolution HE2 by Legislator Carrasco.
Mr. Chairman, fellow legislators, I present the following resolution for your consideration.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, Health Department, to transfer funds from the Insurance Recovery Fund to CP number 134.
So the Health Department is responsible for the monitoring of the Silk Road landfill. And for legislators that weren't around the last year or so, there was a attempted break-in. They damaged the fence, they broke into the shed, and they took tools and equipment out of the shed. We've seen this resolution come up a couple, 3 times. Different components of that have been reimbursed from the Insurance Recovery Fund. This is $718.81, and I think that finally closes out the cost of what we lost.
Thank you. Any discussion? Commissioner Shaw?
Do we have cameras on this?
I don't believe we have it on Silk Road, other than maybe
On Silk Road.
on Silk Road, way long distance perhaps from the airport, but not at that side. I don't think there's, we don't have the, I don't believe we have the avenue to have broadband right there at that corner. So we wouldn't necessarily have a camera.
So when we do like broadband.
You can do a battery camera though.
Well, okay.
What was that, Vera?
We do not have cameras currently set up. We are working with IDP to have that. We did increase the lighting there.
All right. Well, Legislator Shaw brings a point, maybe perhaps you would discuss a trail cam of some kind moving forward, but that's a good point. Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution HE3 by Legislator Carrasco.
Mr. Chairman, fellow legislators, I present the following resolution for your consideration.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing the increase of budget in the Health Department to increase vaccine administration fees.
So the last time we increased the fee for vaccination fees was in 2012. We're looking to increase that fee from 20 to 25 for the first vaccination, 10 to 15 for subsequent vaccines that are given. This really is not a fee that we're standing there holding our hand out to people coming getting the vaccines. This is the bills that we submit to insurance companies to cover our costs, and fees need to be raised so that we bring that up to the point that it does match some of the costs that we put into this.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Moving now to infrastructure, facilities, and technology, resolution IT-1 by legislator House.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I urge this resolution and offer its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification, Department of Solid Waste, unappropriated fund balance to landfill and transfer stations, other equipment.
Yes, it was a transfer of funds, $915,000 to a no-low-speed grinder that IRF is using.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Carrasco.
Yeah, I would encourage legislators that if you have not had an opportunity to see this machine, it is well worth the time and effort to go out and take a look at this. This thing is a monster. It's absolutely amazing what it can do, and it is going to solve a lot of problems for us going forward in the landfill. When they go to dispose of mattresses, they cannot bury them in the landfill because over time they absorb water, and the next thing you know, the landfill is raising up. We have tires that we have issues with. This thing is an amazing, it's hard to even describe what it does, but it, as it grinds material up, if there's any metal, there's a magnetic system that pulls that metal out, spits it in a separate pile. Springs inside of a mattress turn out to be wires about 2 to 3 inches long, and all the rest of that fluff. It makes it a lot easier to dispose. I know that they've looked at doing some tests of burning that material and making sure that we stay within the standards set for IRF. It's going to be a machine that will pay for itself many times over. It actually costs more than this, but it was brought in new and a demo, and it takes a lot to move it, so they kind of made a deal. And our director of solid waste, I'm going to take him the next time I buy a car. He got a good deal out of it. We got another set of teeth, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of pride in the people that are down there using that machine if you talk to them about it, because it's just going to make life easier for us and save us money in the landfill because we're not using as much space by grinding all this stuff up.
And I would add that the director also has this on video. If anyone is interested, they can perhaps watch that video, but it does greatly reduce the space that we need in the landfill.
Right.
Thank you. Legislator Castillo.
I'd just like everybody to understand, Bill, that the unappropriated fund balance is solid waste unappropriated fund balance.
Yes,
correct?
they have
Not
their
the one
own
on
because
the
they're an
general.
enterprise fund.
Okay, just so everybody understands it, because some people may think, all right, it's coming out of our general unappropriated fund balance. That's how the fund balance at solid waste. Thank you very much.
Anything to add there, Mike? He sold it for you. He sold it for you. Thank you.
He saw the video, or he saw it in person. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution IT-2 by legislator House.
I offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution awarding professional services contract RFP 23-HW-014, design services for County Route 28 bridge over South Branch Grindstone Creek.
Yes, this was awarded to Burgess and Lagunas for $79,000.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. IT-3 by legislator House.
I offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing budgetary modification to increase capital project number B0521, County Route 28 bridge over South Branch Grindstone Creek.
Yes, this is out of capital reserve for $29,000.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution IT-4 by legislator House.
I offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution accepting a grant offer from the Authorizing and authorizing the execution of an agreement with New York State Department of Transportation concerning the Oswego County Airport PIN number 3904.04.
Yes, this is the amount of $458,520. It's a capital project, and it'll chime in with IT5 when we get to it.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 20 in favor, 2 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 absent.
Thank you. Resolution IT-5 by legislator Howe.
I offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution establishing capital project number 0423, Oswego County Airport fuel trucks.
Okay, our fuel trucks that we have are basically used up. And this is for 2 fuel trucks. And the previous resolution was $458,521. And our cost share is only 10%, which is $50,947.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Castillo. You both have your hand up. We'll go to Legislator Shaw.
I'll relinquish to them.
I was taking her over you anyway, sir. Legislator Shaw.
I hope that a fuel line is established in this department so that it just tracks fuel coming in and out. It's the only reasonable way to keep track of this. Because at the price for fuel, we should not be coming back, there shouldn't be any issues, it should just rebalance itself. I've seen tons of expenses at the airport, and I've yet to see any lacking. Thank you.
Thank you. Legislator Castillo.
Mr. Chairman, fellow legislators, the last time I brought up the fact that we're upside down at the airport on our costs out there, it was brought up that how could it be upside down for $8,000 or right now $50,000. But if we were in the market of selling that airport, we would have to pay back any and all of the grant money that we received before we could sell it, because we are responsible for that. Is that correct, Phil?
Might be for
Rich?
That's my
I think
understanding.
there was a study or a report done several years ago, and I don't know if it's all of it, but it's a significant portion of the FAA Airport Improvement Project grant monies, yes. I don't know if it's all of it.
So we possibly wouldn't be able to sell it for what we owe. Okay, thank you.
Legislator Brecker.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to point out again that there's no one in this legislature interested in selling that airport.
I am.
Other than Mr. Castillo.
Well, I would. Thank you.
Legislator Shaw is too.
Perhaps 2. Anyway, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 20 in favor, 2 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 absent.
Thank you. Moving now to the Finance Personnel Committee, Resolution FP1 by legislator Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer this resolution and its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution adopting County of Oswego Local Law Number 6 of 2023, entitled a local law amending Local Law Number 3 of 2021, providing the salaries of certain elected county officers of the County of Oswego.
Right, the salaries for the elected officials for Oswego County.
Thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Castillo.
Mr. Chairman, fellows, I would like to explain my vote. I will be voting against this resolution, not because these elected officials are failing to do their jobs. No, I'm voting against it because there isn't an elected official anywhere that should have other elected officials voting to give them a raise. If an elected official feels they should get a raise, such raises should be voted on by the constituents at election time. These raises should be an addendum to the ballots at election time. That way the constituents not only elect them, but they also vote to give them a raise scale for the length of time in their terms. Because of this has not been done, I will not be voting in favor of this resolution. I ask you for a roll call vote on this, sir.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Michael Yurden.
Yes.
Herbert Yarden,
Yes.
Edward Gilson,
Yes.
David Holz,
Yes.
Roy Rehel,
Yes.
John Martino,
Yes.
Frank Lombardo,
Yes.
Paul House,
Yes.
James Weatherup,
Here.
Mary Ellen Chesbro,
Yes.
Linda Lockwood,
Yes.
Richard Klein,
Yes.
Patrick Twist,
Yes.
Stephen Walpole, and marked excused, Kevin Hill,
No.
James Scanlon,
Yes.
D17 is vacant, Robert Wilmot has been marked excused, Marie Schott,
No.
Paul Conley,
Yes.
Noel Samuelson,
No.
James Karasik,
Yes.
Michael Soloway,
Yes.
Mark Greco,
Yes.
Frank Castelia.
No.
Mr. Chairman, that's 18 in favor, 4 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Moving now to the resolution FP2, which will be at the 7 p.m. session. So resolution FP3 by legislator Montalcino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer this resolution for its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution to increase capital reserve 16 bridges, capital reserve 21 building renovations, capital reserve 145 technology, and capital reserve 146 highway and automatic equipment.
As it says, this is just a replenishment of monies for our capital projects.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution FP4 by legislator Martino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution reestablishing pre-qualified list of certain professional service firms.
This is done on a yearly basis, so when we hit the ground running in 2024, we have a list of pre-qualified professional services firms.
Yes, thank you. Any discussion? Legislator Schott.
How is the list maintained? Who chooses the list? How is it updated?
For the pre-qual list, the request for qualifications is sent out by purchasing annually to establish this list. So they take that information that comes in from the vendors and determines whether they meet the criteria to be on the pre-qual list. The reason we did this many years ago is it particularly pertained to grant-funded programs that you had to have a quick turnaround to tell who the vendor was. So an RFP, full RFP process didn't meet their timelines. So if we basically have pre-qualification, this takes that time in half, really, so that we can get those applications.
What is the financial cutoff on that pre-qualification, or is there none?
I think it was for, I think it was 25,000. That might have been updated since I was a purchasing director, but back then it was 25.
So essentially, the list is made by the purchasing department.
Right,
Who reviews that?
the legislature.
Okay, are we reviewing it on a monthly basis, on an annual basis, and how does someone get added to that?
They can, someone who wants to be added to that can contact the purchasing department to be added. And if the purchasing department felt that this is a firm that should be added to the pre-qual list, then they could bring an amendment forward to you.
I don't know, it seems like a very powerful thing to have this list.
Just because you're on a pre-qual list doesn't mean you get the job. The departments, you still have to get 3 quotes. It just allows you to, since a lot of the bulk work of responding to an RFP has already been done by these firms, it allows a quicker turnaround.
So everything qualifying is going to come through the department that's requesting the funding, or anything under 25,000.
If that's still the threshold, yeah. I'd have to check.
How do we find out that threshold?
Just check the purchasing policy.
I'd love to know that soon.
Bill,
Yes,
it's 25,000.
it is 25 still? Okay. And then,
It was just changed last year,
yeah, the department,
From what to what?
from 5,000 to 25,000.
It's a big change. Okay, thank you.
But these pre-qual, once they get quotes and they've chosen the vendor, that still has to come through the legislature for approval.
I understand, but by what criteria are you submitting financial stability?
Yeah.
How are you getting pre-qualified?
Right, the insurance, the quals, past history with, working with the county, not being disbarred from doing public work. It's
Up-to-date
basically-
workers' compensation?
Yeah.
Well, just for clarity, this is not for all vendors, this is for professional services like engineers.
I understand that, but we're using it a lot, and it concerns me to some degree.
Any other discussion?
Chairman?
Yes, sir.
One second, I'm sorry, you said it again?
We don't use it very often at all. We use it a lot with IRF because of their specialty, but we don't, for the most part, our RFPs go out for bid for engineering services. It's just occasionally that we work off the pre-qualified list.
Thank you for that. I do, may I make one more comment, Mr. Chairman? I understand that when we had our funding, when we were getting bids outside the county with Onondaga County, is that kind of when we established this list?
So the pre-qual list existed prior to that. I don't know whether Onondaga had pre-qual lists when they were doing ours, and we started up again and we brought it back in.
Any other discussion?
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, it's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution FP5 will be at the 7 p.m. meeting. Resolution FP6 by Legislator Martino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer this resolution or its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing management compensation plan 2024.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This just has some updates for work week and health plan.
What did you say?
Would you repeat that, sir?
It has updates for the work week and health plan.
What are those updates?
I know it's in the resolution, but we'd like to kind of know. Give us the Reader's Digest version.
Okay.
Very small print.
Yes. What we did is simply clarify language regarding the minimum work week is 35 hours or more. So that it wasn't clear that they had put in 35. And then the work day and the work week is 5 days a week, 7 days, or 7 hours a day. And that could be altered on the discretion of the department head only on a temporary basis to meet departmental needs. So I recall the other change was to, under secondary employment, to change the word conflict to impair, advice of the county attorney. The other is in the health plan to conform this language to the new health plan that the legislature previously adopted.
Legislator Shaw.
I feel that we've had no problems with department heads exiting the county. We have, I think, a pretty robust pay scale. And I'm not demeaning anyone in any of those positions. But I think given the state of several departments, we need to take a long, hard look, because in the real business model, management's not 35 hours a week. I've known many 70-hour weeks, and that's just the way it goes. It's what you sign up for. I just don't see how you can set time for management, but I don't know. I feel there should be some performance if a department is really not keeping their employees happy, keeping things moving properly. You gotta take a really hard look at that manager. I don't see any managers leaving, but boy, I see a lot of work workers leaving. That's how I feel about it. And as I said, I'm not demeaning anyone, but these are very robust pay scales for Oswego County, and that's how I feel. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other? Legislator Castillo.
Mr. Chairman, as the speaker on this resolution at the beginning of the meeting brought up the fact that they kind of didn't know what was going on with this compensation plan. And as we mentioned prior, caucus, minority caucus feels like it's being treated like a mushroom, and that I don't think I know neither one of us were on any committee that met and discussed all these changes prior to this and knows everything about this. So I can't be voting in favor of this only because we were not involved, other than handing it today or last week when F&P met and was supposed to comprehend everything that's in there, and we didn't have a vote on what went in there. And for that reason, and those reasons alone, I will not be voting in favor of this. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, thank you, but again, for clarity, I did discuss with Mr. Church about your concerns of meeting within effect your caucus, and it's only a timing issue. We'll get to that, so where you can ask. But he also remains available, and I would have a real problem, and I think the whole caucus, the whole legislature would have a problem if someone was not responsive to your questions. So if there had been a question that came unanswered, separate issue. But again, to your caucus question, we remain committed that you're informed so you can make your decisions.
But just the point, sir, is that if there is a group that has members, not the full caucus of the majority caucus, but members of that caucus that came up with this plan, then I feel that the minority caucus, whether it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago, or just this past year, should be involved in those discussions and those decisions. That's all I'm asking for, sir.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 20 in favor, 2 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 favor.
Thank you. Moving now to any unfinished business. Any miscellaneous business? We would look for the appropriate motion.
Motion to adjourn.
To recess, not adjourn, to recess.
Motion to recess.
To recess. And we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Now to a public comment period. Legislator Huff. Thank you. At this time, I would like to invite Shauna Reddick to please come forward. Thank you. You have 5 minutes.
First, I'd like to say I'm sorry for the loss of your friend and fellow legislator. There aren't enough words to give the comfort and peace that is needed. We all know without saying a word there are problems with DSS, Child Protective Services, in Oswego County, whether it's the agency itself, the public, the media, all of you who sit here, and those who did not make it here today, OCFS, CAC, and many other service providers we know. Reported by Oswego County News, it had been said that a report by the State Office of Children and Family Services accused DSS of mishandling reports of abuse and neglect and failing to follow through on many allegations against Brooke's parents. Carrie Stewart, who used to run Oswego County CAC Child Advocacy Center, has noticed issues. She said in a recent interview, the system's response to parents who are struggling or to domestic violence situations, or even to really extremely vulnerable children, we're still seeing the system not respond as well as it should. I am grateful for having the CAC in Oswego County. They have been the only ones who have been really able to help our children. I have always seen immense improvement when our children were doing better. My understanding from the interview last month, an investigative attorney from Albany will be looking into DSS. Many of us in the county thank you for that. We know Jordan's parents were held accountable, the caseworkers involved were not. As far as we know, they haven't held themselves accountable. Stacy Albert has not held them accountable, and she does have that authority to do so. You do have some ability to hold Stacy accountable. I know there are some steps that need done to do it, but you are able to. I ask again, along with Legislator Castilla and many others who feel the same way, but do not have the means to travel here, whether it's time, gas, or money, work, fear of retaliation, and whatever else the reason may be. I don't speak for others, just lending a voice to those who I know that feel the same way and do not have the opportunity to be here. Please reconsider your decision and weigh everything out. Reconsider, please, your decision in having Stacy Albert, the DSS Commissioner, removed from her position to have her resign. I said in the past, there's enough blame to share, enough to go around, and she has her share. As I watched the interview with Chairman Weatherup, I apologize, filled with emotion, I realized that as my case dragged on still within the last year, I lost sight of the fact that you all have emotions like the rest of us, just not always able to share them publicly. I may not always agree with your decisions and the choices that you guys make, but you are human too, and I apologize. I'm sorry for letting my problems with CPS forget that. I thank you for each opportunity to have been allowed to speak freely, for always being civil and kind, though you may not like what I have to say. Please, I beg you with all the pleadings within my heart, please have Stacy Albert removed. Children are dying, children are removed from parents who should not have been removed in the first place. A mistake has not been corrected. We shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of CPS's mistakes. No one deserves to suffer, especially the children. It's traumatic for friends and families involved. It affects our communities and not always in a positive way. Please help make things better. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, actually, I'm apologizing under introduction of visitors. We could have introduced the next speaker as the Deputy Town Supervisor for the Williamstown area, but at this point, if Donna Hamblin would come forward. Thank you. You have 5 minutes.
Ready to share with you. Pass them around or whatever. Hello, thank you for having me. My name is Donna Hamblin. I'm the Deputy Town Supervisor in the town of Williamstown. And I'm here today to ask for advice, support, whatever, to see if we can make some changes to the Amish on our roadways. I know that there's not a lot of Amish out this way, but once you get to Mexico and our side of the county, it's constant Amish. I have some pictures there to share. My father was on his way to work on October 30th. His last time in 66 years driving that trip. And it was foggy. Well, if you think it was Halloween, it was foggy, it was raining, it was 20 after 6 in the morning, and there was a guardrail on the side, and my father hit an Amish buggy. He tried to swerve around it. Unfortunately, there was a car coming towards him. The headlights of the car coming towards him reflected off the metal guardrail, scared the horse. The buggy pulled out. My father went around it. He only got the back wheel of the Amish buggy, but my father ended up about 150 yards out into a cornfield. I have some pictures in that book. He had a fractured femur, an open fractured femur, 2 dislocated discs in his neck. He ended up at Upstate. He had surgery. We just found out that today that the bunch that's in his leg is where the sharp edge of the femur severed the muscle just above his knee. That will never heal. It was his last day of work. My father turned 86 on December 1st. Some of you may know him. He owns the newspaper in Camden. Most know him as Bullwinkle. He was always a big supporter of the Amish in this area, considered himself to be friends with Dan Hirschberger. The Amish tend to use religion a lot, as this is against their religion. Those 2 young men who were on that buggy didn't even go out into the field to see if my father was dead or alive. That's not Christian. That is not Christian. They can say all they want to about religion. That's not Christian. They didn't care. The Amish, who don't have telephones and don't agree with our modern society, somehow got a phone and called my father's insurance company wanting him to pay for their buggy. Yeah. We have several Amish. There's a picture in there. On my way home, my father ended up at 9 days in upstate, and then he got sent to Seneca Hill. He just came home Monday. I was on my way home from seeing him in Seneca Hill on Route 183, which the state just put guardrails, several guardrails down 183. I met an Amish buggy that was being driven by children maybe 10 years old. There's a picture in that book. These horses I grew up on a farm. You don't control horses that easy. When the Amish first came here, they had an incident where the horse got stung by a bee and it ended up really messing up about 5 vehicles in the Omega Wire parking lot because the horse just went crazy. It was being stung by a bee. They're expecting 10-year-old children to control these horses. Are the horses Coggins tested? Any of us take our horses anywhere on the road, they gotta have Coggins test. I don't believe the Amish have Coggins testing. They don't use seatbelts, they don't use car seats. I know when I get my grandchildren, the stipulation is you put the car seats in my car because it's too much work. They have children hanging out the backs of these buggies, hanging off 2x4s, whatever. I know the Amish say if something happens to one of their children, it's God's will. I also am a critical incident stress debriefer, and I can tell you that if you are the person who hits that Amish vehicle or the Amish buggy and kills or injures an Amish kid, it's not that easy to live with. It changes your life forever. And I personally know 2 people who have hit and killed Amish, and they suffer on a daily basis. I also have been 37 years as a volunteer EMT. The Amish don't hesitate to use that service, but they don't give anything back. And now we're to a point where just in November, since my father's accidents, there's been 3 Amish weddings. 1 in Mapleview and 2 in Williamstown. The population is multiplying quicker than we like to believe. There's more and more buggies on the road all the time, and we need to do something to change it. I own a camp in Lowville. If you go up to Lowville, they use car batteries, they have headlights, taillights, and signal lights. Why don't they have them here? The buggies that they use for work buggies don't even have reflective tape on them. If I didn't have lights work, if I have one light not working on my car, I'm going to get pulled over. I'm probably going to get a ticket. It's going to cost me a couple $100. Why do the Amish not have to follow any of those rules? If they're going to be on the same roads we pay for, they should be following the same rules that we all have to follow. There's no reason to not have lights. And to say it's against their religion is just, I'm sorry, but that's just a crock. Because if they had any religion in them, they wouldn't let an 86-year-old man be out in the field all by himself and just sit there. So that's what I'm looking for is, I have a lot of support on this, a lot of support. Do I need to do a petition? What do I need to do to start the ball rolling to change the laws?
We can bring it up at public safety and we'll start discussing it.
Okay.
We have discussed it before. There's issues with this, but
I know there is, and it seems like it's before it always seemed to turn around that we need to look out for the Amish, but now there's going to be so much Amish. When are they going to start looking out for us, or even better, looking out for themselves? I wouldn't put my 10-year-old out driving themselves back and forth on the road, and they don't have a problem with it. Okay, I guess I'm done. Thank you for listening.
So at this point, thank you. At this point, we're in recess until 7 p.m. For those of you that make it at 7, more than welcome. For those that can't or won't, again, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you. Call us back into session. Excuse me, a slight recess. A little bit of my fault. Earlier, we had a county official that wanted to report to us, and yet I had overlooked him. It was very hard because he sits right next to me. But hey, a little report from County Administrator Chip.
Yes, I wanted to, good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming out. I wanted to give an update status report on the compensation study. As you know, the legislature, recognizing that we have some challenges in recruitment and retention of employees, engaged a company called the Bird Group to do a compensation study this year. We started to receive some of the results in data form in October. We started to examine that data, asked the company some questions, and I'm clarifying what it meant. We found some things that we wanted included in the calculations, such as the effective longevity as they compared us to other counties. And I received the final report, I think Tuesday, early this week. Yesterday. So what our next step is to, I've scheduled a department head meeting on the 27th to go over the studies with the department heads, and on that same day, I have scheduled a meeting with all the union leadership of the county to go over those reports, so that, and then on the 27th, we'll fully release the report to the public. Plan after that is I'm looking at possibly coming out to all the departments and going over with the employees directly and be fully open as we intended to on the next steps and come up with a plan to address the points identified in the study. This is, I know this is a topic that's important to employees, it's important to us. We know that it's been on everybody's minds for quite a while, it's been on ours, and there is a show of our intent and how important this is to us. There will be a proposal considered tonight to pre-fund some of the recommendations in the report, so that we will have a fund in the budget as we move forward to try to reform our wage and salary structure to the recommendations within the report. So if that gets adopted tonight, we will have not only a signal to our workforce that correct wages and salaries are important, but it will also be a smart financial move for us so that we don't we don't do anything that would cause a large budget challenge in 25 if we can pre-fund part of it and get some of it done during 24. So I just wanted to give everybody that update, and as I look forward to meeting with the department heads and the unions on the 27th, be answering more questions, and after the 27th, we'll be happy to answer any questions once this is out, and we can explain it fully to everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, and I again apologize for not including that at the earlier session. At this point, Legislator Samuelson, do you have someone?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to recognize some special guests that we have in the audience tonight. That would be Boy Scout leader Gordon Prosser and his troop of 780. If you wouldn't mind standing, boys, whoever's here. Represent.
Thank you. You probably get a merit badge for government attendance, but we'll try not to make your ears bleed. That's first aid. Anyway, moving on. Moving on to resolutions, FP2 by Legislator Martino. Thank you. Oh, wait, my fault. My bad. Yes, public hearing on the budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Notice of public hearing. Please take notice that a public hearing will be held at 7:00 p.m. on the 14th day of December 2023 in the Legislative Chambers, 4th floor, Oswego County Office Building, 46 East Bridge Street, Oswego, New York. At which time all persons desiring to express their views may be heard in the matter of consideration of the tentative budget for the County of Oswego for fiscal year 2024. Copy of the budget is available online at www.oswegocounty.com. The maximum salaries that may be paid to the following county officers under Law 359 are as follows. County Legislator, each $15,625. Chair, County Legislature, $34,372. Majority Leader, County Legislature, $18,748. Minority Leader, County Legislature, $18,748. By order of the County Legislature, November 9, 2023, Betsy Sherman Saunders, Clerk. Any persons wishing to be heard regarding the proposed 2024 county budget, please step forward and state your name.
Legislator House. Thank you. At this time, I would call, I don't know the first name, but Weisenberger from Pulaski. See? I think you've been here, is it Carol? Your first name?
Chris.
Thank you. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody.
That was
That was quick.
Time's up already? Thought it was me,
Okay.
kinship.
Good evening, everybody. Tonight, you're going to vote on the county budget. And I just want to say, searching for the budget on the website was like looking for a needle in a haystack. I found the link buried deep within administrative pages, but it was broken. And as of this evening, at 7:05, it was still broken, which means that people can't see how their taxpayer dollars are being spent. The legislature mission statement says, "You shall promote open communication and accountability between government and residents." If this is true, then you must make it easier for the public to find information, like the budget. So I was pleased to hear that one of the legislators said that you've done a longevity study on, I assume it means retaining workers in Oswego County. And I had prepared some remarks to that effect, which I will read and try to modify a little bit along the way. Next year, workers in the highway department, the people who repair our roads and plow our streets, will earn $47,000. Workers in Onondaga County will earn on average $69,000. Last month, 2 employees from the highway department stood at this very podium and explained that as soon as workers are trained to use heavy equipment, they leave for higher paying jobs. According to them, the highway department is losing workers, leaving us with unskilled snowplow drivers. Think about that the next time you pass a snowplow on the road. When you pass this budget, caseworkers at DSS will make on average $50,000. Their counterparts in Onondaga County will earn $62,000. The Department of Social Services is bleeding workers too. The pay is so low for caseworkers, it's hard to attract them to Oswego County. And those who take jobs quickly leave for better pay. Meanwhile, the need for social services skyrockets. There are over 800 homeless people in the county. And those are just the ones we know of, the ones the sheriff department evicts and reports to DSS. How many more people are living in tent cities on a cold night like tonight? 25% of the children in Oswego County live in poverty. Those children will leave school on Friday and won't eat again until breakfast on Monday at school. I'm glad to see the Board of Elections will get a raise next year, according to the tentative budget. That's great. Clerks will now make $34,000. Unfortunately, the standard for a living wage as of this month is $61,000. Did you also know that on election day, poll workers earn $11 an hour for working an 18-hour day. Anyone who is willing to work 18 hours for $11 an hour is struggling to pay for heat and buy food. No wonder the Board of Elections was short 40 poll workers last month. The Oswego County workforce is hemorrhaging at DSS, Highway, Health, the DA's office, the Public Defender's office, and others. And the legislature seems very out of touch with vulnerable populations in our county. We have one of the highest poverty rates in the state. We rank 55th out of 62 counties, with 62 being the worst. I understand creating a budget is complex and involves many factors. It's your job to see the big picture and to do long-range planning, which I'm glad to see that you've taken steps to do. Pay workers fair wages. Bring businesses to our county. Seek advice from people who know more than you. Again, I'm glad to see that you've done this. You were elected to work for all people. Stop playing government and do the work. Help the people of our county. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Are there any other persons interested in speaking on the budget?
There being no other persons wishing to speak on the proposed county budget for 2024, Mr. Chairman, I request to declare the public hearing closed at 7:16.
Thank you. Just as a side note, I just went on, I can't speak to if it was off previously, but the budget is on our website. I just looked. It's accessible, at least at this point. So moving now to resolutions and motions. FP2 by Legislator Martino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to pull FP2.
All right, thank you. Legislator House. Move to waive.
Pardon me?
I move to waive resolutions GC 798.
Yeah, but the way mine reads, it's motion to waive the rules, 2 additional resolutions, 1 whereas for the insurance.
Right.
So basically, it was GC7 and GC8.
Yeah, GC7 and GC8 only.
Yes, only.
May I have a second?
Second.
Good. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant regardless.
Well, thank you. And then moving now to GC7 by Legislator Holt.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution, urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing the chair of the legislature to execute a 4th amended stipulation on certain terms with High Sport Capital LLC regarding the former Addis Ethanol Fulton LLC tax lien from parcels.
Businesses where High Sport and the county are amenable to granting a further extension and amendment of the deadlines of the original stipulation by between the parties dated for February 27, 2023.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Resolution GC8 by Legislator Holt.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to offer this resolution, urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution continuing and renewing the form and amount of a blanket surety covering all officers and employees of the County of Oswego Insurance Department.
Yes, this continues, removes, and improves a continuous blanket surety bond in an amount not less than $500,000 for corporate surety for the purpose of covering all elected and appointed county officials and employees.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Now it's the end of the year, basically resolution, but resolution GC2? Or no, wait. My bad. Resolution FP5 by Legislator Martinez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer this resolution under its adoption.
Would the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution adopting county budget for the fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2024.
Thank you. We have some amendments. Legislator Crest.
Mr. Chairman, fellow legislators, I move to update the full valuation to $8,855,567,930.
Do we have a second? Legislator Hill. Any discussion? Legislator Steve.
Mr. Chairman, along with this one here, we received this 10 minutes ago. The minority caucus did, 10 minutes before the meeting. And going through it, I don't find what pages any of this stuff is on. We got to figure it all out. It's just, yes, they're all good resolutions. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is, there should be a little bit better for us to be able to read them, be able to understand them and go through them. That's all I'm saying. It's just not right. With the information I gave you guys, I gave it 3 days ahead of time. I gave you dates. I gave you, the pages, the line numbers, everything. This is giving me nothing more than a line number. Thank you very much. I'll be in favor of his resolution.
Thanks.
His amendment.
Thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Legislator Twist.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to make the following line adjustments, which are made necessary by the adoption of the labor contract with the Oswego County Professionals Association and other personnel changes that have occurred since the adoption of the tentative budget. Net impact to the tax levy is $83,072.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Legislator Lombardo. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Moving now, Legislator Tesler.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I wholeheartedly move to fund City P-Tech Manufacturing Training Lab from internal ARPA money to the following accounts. It'll be going into coming out of the ARPA account A1010.44890 .ARPA, and it will be going into A1010.546500.VTech for $500,000.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Legislator Rehill. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Legislator Connor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and fellow legislators. I make a motion that we move to transfer $174,469 to line A9075.514200 from all the vacation buyback accounts. I also would like to amend A3640-14200 to 3460-14200.
Yes, thank you. That's a small edit. Just got
Other
double.
way around.
Yeah, line 13.
It's reversed.
Oh, the other way around. It currently says 3460, it needs to say
Got it.
3640.
3460, 3640.
Yes.
3460.
All understood? Thank you. Do we have a second? Legislator Lockwood.
Right over here.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Legislator Hill.
Mr. Chairman, I move to increase the community college tuition line by $200,000 as follows to comply with New York State mandate. A2490.546500, other payment, $200,000. A2490.422400, community college chargeback, minus $200,000.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Legislator Chesbro. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Legislator Gilson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to establish a revenue line A1325.410030.addis with $1,500,000 to reflect the anticipated receipt of 2024 property tax settlement payments related to the Addis property. This will reduce the tax levy by $1.5 million.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Legislator Scanlon. Second. Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 absent.
Thank you. Legislator Michael Yurden.
Thank you. I move to establish revenue line account MS.42770.HIFB with $425,966 from the health insurance fund balance and reduce the inter-fund transfer line MS.450310 by the same amount to reduce taxpayers' cost of employee health coverage.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Legislator Greco. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 absent.
Thank you. Legislator Martino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move to establish account A 1430.5111100.Burke with $2,300,000 to fund potential salary and wage adjustments stemming from the compensation study. I realize that this is not the full amount that will be needed, but it'll get us off the ground and start us moving towards the salary compensation study that we've been looking forward to.
Yes, good. Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Legislator House. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 absent.
Thank you. Legislator Scanlon.
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjust the following sales tax lines as follows. Increase A 1325.41110, sales tax revenues by $630,000, and also increase A 1325.546500, other payments by $132,300, resulting in a $497,700 decrease in the tax levy.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Legislator Michael Yurden. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 absent.
Thank you. Legislator Holmes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to apply $1 million of the unappropriated fund balance to lower the real property tax rate.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Legislator Beckwith. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 21 in favor, 1 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 absent.
Thank you. Administrator Church is going to give us a brief synopsis of where we currently are.
Okay, prior to these motions, the tentative budget did not comply with the New York State tax cap. Now it does. We have a real property tax levy of $46,361,834. That translates into a generic tax rate of $5.60 per thousand.
Thank you. Legislator Castillo.
Mr. Chairman, fellow legislators, I believe it was on Wednesday or Thursday, everybody got our majority caucus's recommendations for budget reductions. If you like, I can go through each and every one of them, like we just did with the majority caucus. But I'm not going to, I did that the first year I was in office, and it didn't go over too well with everybody being all upset about it. But you guys know what we asked for. We know what lines we're asking for. And what I'm going to give you is just a synopsis of what it will do. Total savings, we're asking to reduce the legislative body by 10 legislators, right? But our total savings of all requests performed will be a total savings of $393,391 for 1 year. Over 10 years, it would be $3,933,000. Now, members of the majority caucus and members of the management team, the reductions that the minority caucus are requesting will not have a major effect on the 2024 county budget. We know that. Our requests are not being asked because we feel that the department heads have failed to perform their duties. Over the past year, we've heard from members of the rank and file declaring a need for equal pay for equal work, a living wage. I have only heard from two, that is two members of the management team that make statements regarding their wages. We have many members of the rank and file leaving at an alarming rate. We have only two members of the management team elected and appointed that have left for a higher rate of pay in the past 10 years that I've been here. With so many leaving the rank and file, we therefore have lost workers with experience gone and rookies, although being trained, taking their place in the field, which means the people are not receiving the best of services. The leaving also puts a heavy burden on the management team to be constantly retraining workers. For these reasons, we ask that the department heads forego any raises in the hopes it will send a message to the rank and file that the management team values them above getting a raise. We make a motion to and request that our budget reduction to be accepted. I make that motion now.
Thank you. Legislator Real.
Mr. Chairman, point of order, I don't believe that you can change the number of legislators with a budget amendment.
No, okay, I'll grant you taking that out.
Okay. Do we have a second on Legislator Shaw? Any other discussion?
I'd like a roll call vote, please.
I'm not sure what you're
Proposing is what I sent to everybody
to submit that.
the reductions that we submitted,
Okay.
that everybody received was probably Wednesday night or Thursday. I think you received them Wednesday during the daytime. And everybody had them in their mailboxes when they came in today.
Okay.
It would be that less the reduction in the legislature.
Less the reduction to the, right, because
It has to be done by local law.
legislator Rehill.
Right. Okay. Legislator Simmons.
I'm not sure if this is able to be done or not, but do we have compensation study information on what that said about the salaries for the managers?
It is
Because what I've read, I think they were underpaid according to the study in most cases.
according to the Burke report, yes. All right, back to Legislator Castilla's motion, seconded by Legislator Shaw. Roll call vote on accepting.
Exactly what are we voting on? Eliminate 10 legislators?
No, that's taken out.
It's all this motion.
So what are we voting on?
We're voting on
the package presented by the minority caucus.
Okay, all right. So the motion is to accept those. Roll call vote.
Yeah, we lost our clerk.
34 years, I finally get to do this.
We can use Valley as well.
And he's underpaid.
No. Legislator Yeardley. No. Legislator Herbert Yeardley.
No.
Legislator Gilson.
No.
Legislator Holtz.
No.
Legislator Regan.
No.
Legislator Martina.
No.
Legislator Bombardo.
No.
Legislator House.
No.
Legislator Weatherup.
No.
Legislator Chesbrough.
No.
Legislator Lockwood.
No.
Legislator Klein.
No.
Legislator Twist.
No.
Legislator Walpole. Absent.
Excuse.
Legislator Hill.
No.
Legislator Scanlon.
No.
Legislator Mangano is absent. Vacant. Legislator Wilmot. Excused. Legislator Schott. Legislator Schott.
I'm sorry, I've been playing for a minute. No, I don't, yes, I support it. I'm tired, I'm just doing 500 amp for what? I'm tired.
So shine the headlight.
I was like, literally the grand.
Legislator Conlon.
No.
Legislator Samuelson.
No.
Legislator Karasik.
No.
Legislator Soloway.
No.
Legislator Greco.
No.
Legislator Castillo.
Yes, as always.
Mr. Chairman, that's 2 yeses, all the rest are noes and 3 abstentions.
Where's Betsy?
All right, thank you. At this time, I will ask for a short recess. Do I have a second? Second. All right, thank you. Should be just as quick as we can. I'd like to call us back into session. Hopefully that was brief. So at this point, I'd like to go back to the budget. FP5 as amended. Resolution, Legislator Martino.
So I just need a vote on it at this point.
Just need a vote.
Okay,
First and second.
all right. We have a first by Martino and a second by Holtz.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
24 budget, thank you. Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 19 in favor, 3 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
See how she did that, Phil?
I drank.
I'll remember for next time.
He's new. All right, at this time, Legislator House.
I'd like to waive the rules for FP7 only.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused.
Hold on,
Oh.
FP7.
Oh,
Hang on.
sorry.
These guys got to share the duties better. Would the clerk please read the headings?
Resolution making appropriation for the conduct of county government for the fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2024.
Thank you. Legislator Castillo.
I just would like to go back, okay, rerun. She said, how many in favor of that last one?
22.
How many opposed?
0?
Well, there was 2 hands up.
Oh, no, that was for the vote.
The budget.
Yeah, no, the budget, I've got 19.
No, that was for the waive the rules. There's 2 of us that voted no.
Oh, to waive the rules, there's 2, okay, so there's 2 of you.
I just trying to follow the rules here, that's all.
So I misspoke on that, it was 2 that.
No, well, you just didn't look up because you didn't think we were going to vote no, that's all.
All right,
It's not your fault, it's their fault. Now you can go on.
All right, so again, just for clarity, so everybody understands. Resolution FP7 by Legislator Martino.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer this resolution and urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution making appropriation for the conduct of county government for the fiscal year commencing January 1st, 2024.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
Thank you. Moving back then to Resolution GC2 by Legislator Holt.
Mr. Chairman, I offer this resolution, urge its adoption.
Will the clerk please read the heading?
Resolution authorizing chairman and clerk to handle all unfinished business through December 31st, 2023.
This is where the chairman and clerk will handle or authorize to look at the interests of the county and all matters of unfinished business through December of 2023.
Thank you. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. Chairman, that's 22 in favor, 0 opposed, 2 excused, and 1 vacant.
All right, thank you. Moving now to any unfinished business. Any miscellaneous business? Is there, Legislator House, is there any public comments? Looking for the appropriate motion?
I offer the motion to adjourn.
Second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. With this-
The accident you had.
Moving now to public speakers for comments unrelated to the resolutions of the meeting. First up, we have Liz Calandro. Thank you. You have 5 minutes.
I'm here today with other members of the probation department to bring some concerns we have to your attention. Numerous times we've tried to address our concerns with our department head, only to be told it's a union issue. When we bring the concern to the union, we're told it's a department head issue. We, as frontline staff, are at a loss of where to go for help and support. Some of us had emailed members of the legislative committee, only to have minimal to no responses from most of you. So I'm here today to voice our concerns in a place where I hope we can finally be heard. The union is mostly made up of DSS staff, and most of the decisions made benefit them. There are numerous small departments in the union, but it often seems that an overwhelming number of staff at DSS ultimately make the choice for us all. Last year, as you are aware, caseworkers, including union position holders, rallied for a change in their pay grade for a raise. They said that they needed more money for the job to be enticing for new employees, as well as for retention. However, if you talk to many of the staff that left that job, money was not the main or sole issue in their retention. Even after this pay grade change, numerous staff still left the department and continue to do so. Soon after the pay grade change, DSS once again came to you guys asking for an overtime budget, as they did not have enough staff and current staff needed to take on more work and hours. This is a direct conflict of what they said the pay grade change would solve. As you know, the probation officer position and caseworker position are now the same pay grade. However, a caseworker is an entry-level position and even states such on the civil service announcement. A probation officer is required to have multiple years of experience on top of a degree or hold a master's degree. In changing the pay grades, you have failed to acknowledge us or compensate us fairly for the education and experience that we require. Training, job duties, and education should be considered in pay grades, and this needs to be rectified. It should also be noted that the population we work with has generally become more dangerous in the last few years. The danger and risk is more prevalent now than ever. There has been an increase in violence, noncompliance, and lack of consequences, which directly affects our safety and jobs. Although we were able to get a grant to get vests for our staff, we're still being severely undercompensated for our education, experience, and safety daily. I believe everyone who works for the county deserves a raise, and I know that was semi-discussed today. But changing pay grades without acknowledging experience or other basic information is unfair and clearly did not resolve the DSS retention issue. In making this choice to help one department, you've once again neglected all other smaller departments in the county that are constantly at the mercy of decisions made by DSS staff. 2 members of our department also received significant out-of-contract raises this year. If it's felt that some members of our department deserve or need raises, why is the department not looked at a whole separately as well? While the pay study is occurring, however, very slowly and with minimal updates given to the staff it's going to directly affect, you continue to make changes and choices about who should financially benefit from, including yourselves, but you leave the rest of the county behind to struggle. Oswego County used to be seen as a desirable place to work. However, the lack of benefits, low pay, and never accounting for cost of living adjustment has drastically decreased people's desire to work for or remain working for Oswego County. I also find it absolutely astonishing that while you're aware of our hardships and the economy, you are willing to increase your pay once again after already having out of contract pay raises last year, which you guys all vote on for yourselves. I especially find these conversations and decisions around your own pay surprising, as during our last contract negotiations, our 3% raise was allegedly the best you could do, and you left us no room for true negotiations, only to give yourselves a raise months later. And now discuss another raise. I understand that budgets are important, but I struggle to believe you guys feel this way as you continue to ensure you get raises while frontline employees do not. You continue to feel we should be thankful for what you give us in an attempt to appease us. With our 3% contract raise coming up next year, a probation officer will receive approximately $1,500 more the total year. However, I'd also like to note that our department head's proposed pay in the 2024 budget appears to be $11,000 more than last year. To put that into perspective, our department head will make in 2 months what we will make in 1 year total in raises. Yet we continue to advocate on our pay and go unheard, and I have to make a stand for ourselves. In our department, we've historically not been allowed overtime, despite sometimes working more than 40 hours due to training, special duties, or other necessary job duties. It's been a constant back and forth issue that goes nowhere, and we're again given the runaround about who to talk to. In the recent budget proposal, we're potentially allotted $5,000 overtime dollars, and this totals about $14 per month. Your employees are financially struggling while the legislative committee cherry picks who should be getting more money, including themselves, and that needs to change.
Thank you. Would now Julie Smithers come forward?
I would like to continue on from what Liz had to say. I have been an employee of the probation department for 18 years. I would like to address these additional concerns. One issue we would like to bring to your attention is the probation department qualifies for a 25-year retirement option. Other qualifying jobs in the county have the benefit of 20 or 25-year retirements. However, the county has chosen not to buy into this program for the probation department. Currently, employees in Tier 6 need to work until age 63 to retire. Part of the reason for a 25-year retirement in jobs like probation is that at age 63, it is unreasonable and unsafe for us to continue to have to be in such a high-stress and physically demanding job. At 63 years old, we may have to physically detain an aggressive young probationer for our safety or the safety of others in the community. Our job has become increasingly more dangerous. It is both physically and mentally more taxing than ever before. 18 years ago, my main job was to enforce the orders and conditions of the court. Currently, I'm expected to be law enforcement, a mental health counselor, a substance abuse counselor, a domestic violence liaison, and a lab tech to handle urine screens. Should we be injured in the course of our duties, we are not provided with full pay under the 207C disability laws like police and corrections. We would only get short-term disability, which we all know is an absolute joke. Your desire to save money instead of taking care of county employees shows once again when making this decision to not buy into a 25-year retirement for the probation workers. You continue to show us frontline staff at our department that work, experience, and lives are not important. 51% of our department currently holds an additional job for supplemental income. This is due to the rising cost of living and the fact that despite being on the higher end of the pay scale of the county, our staff still cannot afford to solely work for the county. This should make you concerned about all county employees and obtaining new county employees in the future. Our 3% raise this year will barely offset the 8% increase in health insurance that we're going to be seeing. This will essentially leave us with no more money than in the previous year. As mentioned, not only does the probation department's pay grade need to be rectified, but you should consider some other numbers as well. Minimum wage is currently increasing approximately 5%. SNAP benefits are set to increase 12.5%. Social Security is going to increase 3.2% to account for inflation. But again, we are receiving just a 3% raise, no cost of living adjustment, and seeing an increase in our health insurance. In reality, you are giving us nothing more. State and federal lawmakers see the need to increase money for programs and people, but Oswego County apparently does not. Additionally, we don't have a retention issue in our department, so we are often overlooked. Our department head doesn't have to boost our pay grade or change our titles like other departments to get us more money. So in essence, we are being punished for being loyal employees. So while you give yourself yet another raise, knowing county employees continue to struggle, please consider the message that is sending to your workers. Perhaps you can figure out how to manage the budget to provide more money for your hardworking employees, as well as rectify the pay grade changes that you hastily made without thinking about the actual job duties and requirements. On another note, I would invite any of you to ever come on the road with us. Please, we've asked you. We've asked lots of you. See what we do. And if you truly don't believe that kids go all weekend without eating, you are sadly mistaken. Thank you.
Thank you. Would Jenna LaPietra?
Thank you for the time. I'm Jenna LaPietra. I'm fairly new to the county. I moved here with my husband about 2 years ago. This is my first legislative meeting, so if I get any of it wrong, you'll just forgive me for it. I reached out on November 4th to Chairman Weatherup in relation to a post that was made by one of the legislators here that came to my attention. I'm not going to mention the legislator, but the post was fairly irresponsible, and it attacked some of the candidates that were on the ballot for election. It came just before Election Day. I saw the post and was pretty disturbed by it. I sent an email to Chairman Weatherup and to my representative, James Scanlon. I did hear from Chairman Weatherup after a follow-up, so I appreciate that. I'm bringing it up here because I would really like the entire legislature to understand the issue and to hear my request. The chairman did respond to me, however, I did not understand a straight answer from you on my request, and then when I followed up, I didn't get a second response. So I'm going to just go ahead and read my email so that everyone is on the same page and understands what I'm requesting. And ideally, I'd like to hear back from the body if a code of conduct is something that we can do. The entire point of this is that I would like to have a code of conduct created here for this body. So here's my email. I'm removing on purpose the person's name who made the post. It was very offensive. It was removed as far as I know, but for the purposes of this, I feel like there's no reason to call out the person in the post. But here was my email. Dear Chairman Weatherup, I am reaching out to you today as a resident of Oswego County. It came to my attention that one of the legislators reposted an ethically inappropriate post to his Facebook page, making venomous and outlandish comments about colleagues and other candidates who are on the ballot for Tuesday's election. I am aware that governing is difficult, and I applaud those who give their time to supporting our communities in these roles. But with these positions of leadership comes the responsibility to lead. The poor judgment and small-mindedness displayed by this legislator not only disrespects the candidates who have put themselves out there, but it also disrespects his legislative colleagues, you as the chair, and the entire democratic process. Not only is this post in poor taste, but it reflects complete lack of civility and respect for one's colleagues and neighbors, which in turn undermines the governing body on which this legislator is a member. Before penning this email, I searched the county legislature's website for a code of conduct for members. I found none. As chairman of this body, I implore you to put an end to this type of reckless or irresponsible behavior and to create and enforce an official code of conduct that would disallow these kinds of indecent actions. Without a scaffold of common civility, no governing can be done, and when this type of threatening behavior is tolerated, our entire society is threatened. Not to mention the fact that we lose the ability to invite common discourse, and to have people want to actually run for election here, run for office. I've worked for large organizations, both publicly traded companies and the New York State government in my career, and I can tell you anyone who was employed in any of these institutions would have been dismissed immediately for the behavior displayed by this legislator. Now I realize there's no dismissing here, but there's got to be some way for us to behave well to each other. And I'll tell you, this is not just a small issue, and it's not just an issue here. I heard it tonight, and people in the audience heard it tonight, when someone of the legislators said something disrespectful to someone else who was speaking. Right here tonight in the back. So it's happening, and it's happening right here. I thank you all for your time, and I really would like to hear about having a code of conduct put in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Would Donna Scanlon come forward?
Okay.
Welcome again.
Well,
Actually, I know everybody's tired. I'm tired too. I just wanted to come back and clarify what COACH is, because I kind of went off on a little ramble there last time. But COACH stands for the County of Oswego Advocates Challenging Homelessness. And COACH actually came to be in 2015, and we didn't join the continuum of care until 2017. And the Housing and Homeless Coalition's mission, that's the continuum care, is to assess county needs and to develop a comprehensive community strategy and coordinated network of services to reduce, prevent, and ultimately end homelessness and housing vulnerability in central New York. Our advisory board is made up of nonprofit organizations, philanthropic, can never say that, funders, you know what I mean, people with lived experience of homelessness, local city and county employees, along with representatives from each of the 3 county local Department of Social Services. Our general HHC body is open to all stakeholders in central New York, and our body meetings are open to all individuals who are interested in learning about or addressing homelessness, housing vulnerability, or other issues relevant to our mission. Membership enrollment is open all year, so now that you guys got a little increase in salary, with more money comes more responsibility, so we're open all year for enrollment, and they would love for anybody to join that is interested. There's also other coach, you can always go to a coach meeting and be glad to tell you about those. And there's other housing agencies that are not-for-profits. One is the Oswego Housing Development Council. They are currently looking for members, and they're based in Fulton. There's Victory Ministries. They have a board, and so does Habitat for Humanity. There's also, I'm missing one, well, OCO, who everybody knows, and they have board meetings as well. So there's a lot to get involved with housing. There's a lot to get involved with the homeless situation. And with homelessness, you're not only talking, it's not just getting people off the streets. It's a very complex issue. It's a mental health issue. It's a drug addiction issue. It's a poverty issue. It's a long time way of life for some folks, unfortunately. It's a veterans issue, and it's also just an affordable housing issue. If the middle income people, like myself and many people sitting in this audience, can't afford a home or to rent because rents are so high, and our system is that we take care of homeless people first with our Section 8, and that's mandated by the federal and state governments because we care about people, in case anybody forgot. So you get the homeless people off the streets, but then the middle, where are they going? If you're, if you can't afford rent and you're working 2 jobs, where are you going to go? And then you have the other people that are a little upper middle. They can't afford to buy a house because the houses are now astronomical. So you have people that, they have 2 jobs. They can't afford rent. You have folks that are making decent money and both of them are working, that they can't afford a house. So the American dream, is dying. And we have to work together. Got to work together to solve it. You can't just, ship people around. And this is what it was, Central New York, we're trying to work together. And now that there's more homeless, it used to work great for us. Because, years ago, we were out there looking for homeless. We couldn't find them because they were couch surfing, they were invisible. Well, now they're visible. And the reason why some people might actually be coming from Onondaga County, I know it's a big, crazy, woo, but if they're coming from Onondaga, it's because we have an agreement. We're in central New York. When you couldn't see our homeless people, they were going to Onondaga County because we didn't have a shelter. We still don't have a main everyday shelter. Victory. Yep. So if you have somebody who is truly homeless and having a lot of issues, there's nowhere to go.
Thank you. At this time, I thank you all for coming. I truly do hope you have a joyous holiday season. Thank you. See you next year.